It's a moment that has shaken the Catholic Church and the world alike. After more than a decade at the helm of the Vatican, Pope Francis has passed away. Known for his humility, global outreach, and modern reforms, his death marks the end of an extraordinary chapter in church history. The Vatican confirmed that he passed away at 7:35 a.m. on Monday, April 21, 2025, at his residence in Vatican City. The official statement read, "The Bishop of Rome, Pope Francis, has returned to the house of the Father." His passing comes just one day after his last public appearance on Easter Sunday. During the Mass in St. Peter's Square, he addressed thousands of faithful and later met with visiting dignitaries, including U.S. Senator J.D. Vance. Despite his visibly fragile condition, he appeared engaged and alert. Earlier this year, Pope Francis was hospitalized for double pneumonia and remained under medical care for several weeks. He had recently been discharged and was continuing his recovery. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he was ordained as a priest in 1969 and served as Archbishop of Buenos Aires from 1998 to 2013. He was named a cardinal by Pope John Paul II in 2001. Following the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI, the Conclave of 2013 elected Cardinal Bergoglio as Pope. He took the name Francis, becoming the first Pope from the Southern Hemisphere, the first Jesuit Pope, and the first non-European Pope in over 1,200 years. His election marked a significant shift in the Church's history and global presence. At the time, over 40% of the world's Catholics lived in Latin America. His papacy symbolized the Church's increasingly global identity. For 12 years, he led with one message at the core: humility, simplicity, service. He lived in a modest guest house instead of the apostolic palace, frequently used small vehicles, and made regular contact with marginalized communities. He made 43 international trips, visiting over 50 countries. Notable visits included the United States, the Central African Republic, Iraq, and the Philippines. He often prioritized countries affected by war, poverty, or displacement. Francis issued several key church documents, including Laudato Si in 2015, which addressed climate change and environmental justice, and Fratelli Tutti in 2020, which emphasized human fraternity and social responsibility. He also initiated financial reforms within the Vatican, created a new dicastery for evangelization, and restructured the Roman Curia with the 2022 Apostolic Constitution Predicate Evangelium. In 2021, he launched the Synod on Synodality, a multi-year global consultation aiming to gather input from Catholics at every level, including laypeople. This process was intended to shape the future direction of the Church. Francis canonized over 900 saints, including Pope John Paul II, Pope John III, and Mother Teresa of Calcutta. He also advanced the causes of individuals from diverse backgrounds, highlighting the universality of sainthood. With his death, the Church has now entered the period known as sede vacante, Latin for the seat is vacant. During this time, no major decisions or appointments are made until a new pope is elected. The Camerlengo of the Holy Roman Church, currently Cardinal Kevin Farrell, is responsible for certifying the Pope's death, sealing the papal apartments, and overseeing the funeral arrangements. The papal ring, known as the Ring of the Fisherman, has been ceremonially destroyed, a centuries-old tradition that ensures no documents can be forged in the Pope's name. The funeral must occur between the 4th and 6th day after the Pope's death. According to Vatican officials, Pope Francis requested a simple funeral. He will be buried at the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome, a site he frequently visited in prayer before and after overseas trips. During the 9-day mourning period known as the novemdiales, public masses are celebrated each day in St. Peter's Basilica. The Pope's body will lie in state to allow the faithful to pay their respects. The Vatican is also coordinating with Italian authorities to accommodate thousands of pilgrims and foreign delegations. Enhanced security protocols are already in place throughout Vatican City and central Rome. Soon after the funeral, attention will turn to the election of a new pope. The conclave must begin between 15 and 20 days after the pope's death. During this time, the College of Cardinals gathers in Rome for preparatory meetings known as general congregations. These meetings allow cardinals to discuss the state of the Church and the qualities needed in the next pontiff. As of now, 138 cardinals are eligible to vote. All must be under the age of 80 at the time of the pope's death. Each cardinal takes an oath of secrecy and is sequestered inside the Sistine Chapel for the duration of the conclave. Voting occurs twice each morning and twice each afternoon. If no candidate achieves a 2/3 majority, the voting continues until a consensus is reached. Ballots are burned after each session. Black smoke from the Sistine Chapel chimney indicates no result. White smoke signals that a pope has been elected. Once the new pope accepts his election and chooses a name, he is introduced to the world with the words, "Habemus Papam," we have a pope. The new pope is then vested and appears on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. An inauguration mass is usually held within a few days. Although not a formal coronation, the ceremony includes the presentation of the pallium and the ring of the fisherman. Pope Francis appointed more than 80% of the current voting cardinals. This is expected to influence the profile of the next pope, though conclave outcomes are never guaranteed. Papal elections often reflect both the internal priorities of the Church and broader global dynamics. Historically, the role of the Pope has evolved. From a local bishop in the early Christian community to the absolute monarch of the Papal States during the Middle Ages, and now to a global spiritual leader, the papacy remains one of the most visible offices in the world. The Pope is also head of state of Vatican City and represents the Holy See diplomatically. The Vatican maintains formal diplomatic relations with over 180 countries and has permanent observer status at the United Nations. Past papal transitions have drawn millions of viewers and widespread attention. Pope John Paul II's funeral in 2005 was attended by over 200 heads of state and religious leaders. The same is expected for Pope Francis. Many observers expect the next conclave to consider both continuity and change, balancing pastoral concerns with global challenges such as secularization, abuse prevention, declining vocations, and emerging Catholic populations in the global South. In addition to church leadership, the new pope will inherit diplomatic relationships, interreligious dialogues, and oversight of ongoing synodal reforms. The process of selecting a new pope is guided by centuries of tradition but shaped by contemporary issues. Each conclave reflects not only theological discernment but also a response to the unique needs of the moment. The conclave as we know it today was formalized in the 13th century following the death of Pope Clement IV, whose successor was not elected for nearly 3 years due to political deadlock. In response, Pope Gregory X issued the decree Ubi Periculum in 1274, establishing that cardinals must be secluded during the election and that they would receive reduced rations if the process took too long. Since then, the conclave has evolved into a strictly confidential and highly structured procedure, refined by later popes to protect against external influence and ensure the integrity of the election. Some conclaves in history have occurred during moments of global crisis. In 1939, Cardinal Eugenio Pacelli was elected Pope Pius XII just months before the outbreak of World War II. In 1978, the rapid succession of Popes John Paul V and John Paul II occurred during political upheaval in Eastern Europe and the Cold War. The 2005 conclave that elected Pope Benedict XVI followed the globally significant death of Pope John Paul II, who had served for over 26 years. These transitions often carried both spiritual and geopolitical implications, drawing attention far beyond the religious world. As the Church prepares for its next leader, faithful across the world are reflecting on Pope Francis's legacy. He was the third pope to die in the 21st century, following Pope John Paul II in 2005 and Pope Benedict XVI in 2022. His papacy spanned a period of global social, political, and economic change, from the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis to the COVID-19 pandemic. In recent years, the Vatican has also made greater use of digital platforms to communicate with the global Catholic community. Under Pope Francis, the @Pontifex Twitter account grew to over 50 million followers across multiple languages. The Vatican News website and Vatican Media began live streaming major events, including weekly Angelus addresses and international papal visits. These digital initiatives help the Church reach younger generations and expand its visibility beyond traditional media. At 88, he was one of the oldest popes in modern Church history. Despite multiple health challenges, he continued to serve, travel, and speak publicly into his final days. The world now turns to the Vatican, not just to mourn, but to watch what comes next. This is a developing story. We will continue to provide accurate updates on the funeral proceedings, conclave dates, and the election of the next pope. To stay informed, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. If you have questions about the conclave process, church history, or papal succession, leave them in the comments. We'll cover those in future videos. If you found this video informative, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching.